Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. Enterprise encounters a Romulan minefield the hard way. Hoshi bangs her head. Phlox gets busy in sickbay. Travis flies the ship to safety. The Romulans take pot shots. Reed does his duty and gets rather attached. And Archer almost gets punked by a mine.
I'm really glad to see that our computer guy is back, even though he's walking kind of funny. So I think his research was successful. Oh, the light's on. Okay. Good day, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Starfleet Underground. I'm here with the full crew. We don't have a guest right now because we haven't figured out to really disengage the cloak, which makes docking with us very interesting. So our engineer is going to be on that right after
a little
this
left.
show.
No, the other left. No, go back the other way. No, go up. Oh, shit.
Stick it in.
Hold still.
So he doesn't have experience with things that are clean shaven, so he'll get that done. Oh, which brings me into our next topic. This show is not for kids. If you're under the age of 16, you should not be listening to us. So
or maybe 18.
18? Okay,
21.
yeah, all right. 18.
I mean, we're not even good for adults sometimes.
No, we're not. So we're even past the R rating. So we're going to ask nicely. So please leave the room. You're not out of the room yet? Get the fuck out. Now. Leave. I don't hear the door closing. Okay, cool. They're gone. All right. And I am on board here. I'm Captain Nathan Adams aboard this marvelous, wonderful Defiant class vessel. And we have our full crew here today. We have our science officer.
Hi, I'm Heather Ferris. I'm the science officer. And I swear I got all of the tribbles out of there before you started doing that. So hopefully there were no tribbles harmed in the making of this podcast.
I hope not. And they're quite happy because the person they like to play with is back from his Klingon mission. So we have our computer person, and I hope you were successful finding about the 2-member myth.
I'm going to 2-member your myth in a minute. This is Patrick. I'm the computer guy. I'm number 1, and I'm also the foreign species liaison. And yes, while Klingons have 2 penises, I did not find out. So there.
Yes, you did, because I heard you in the galley. You went to go sit down. You're like, oh, before you settled in your chair, like getting into a hot tub.
That's because there was a punk rock Tribble on the seat. And that's spiked hair.
Well, I didn't see that. So
I thought that was your whole mission, was to go over there and find out about that. The 2 dicks.
No, that was the mission you guys made up.
What? What'd you do?
yeah, no, he's up there trying to say like the Klingon ship is like Vegas. What happens on the Klingon ship stays on the Klingon ship. So that's why he's not saying anything.
Except the Klingons are the most like photographed and video recorded like area out there. So,
Yeah. And one of the Klingons gave him a really high compliment for a Klingon. It was like, I will not kill you forever. So that's like saying I love you.
Wow.
So I thought that was pretty awesome.
I got teary-eyed right there. That's awesome.
I know. And speaking of our wonderful engineer who keeps us going and keeps people from messing up our wonderful finish by docking with us cloaked, we have our engineer.
I've got nerve.
You're into docking, Rocky?
I've got nerve around the docking port, so we can just gently bounce in. It's okay.
Bumpers.
And no wandering spooge marks like happened a couple of shows ago where that pre-com got on board the Enterprise.
When you just fly by a Blacklight Planet, it shows right up. Okay, so it's always a good idea to get the hull washed off once in a while.
That's why Nathan looks like a Pollock painting.
That was really artsy.
Okay.
Hi everybody. I'm Rocky. I'm the engineer of the show and the ship, and I'm happy to see you.
Woo. And we're being brought to you by our friends at Section 31. I wouldn't necessarily call them friends. I still can't figure out what the hell they keep sponsoring us for, but I'm glad they do. And our Patreon people. So thank you again for donating. You're responsible for our tribbles as well as our photo shoots. So it's really nice when Patrick puts the tutu on and starts grabbing balls. It's funny. I just lost my train of thought.
So
you never picture out what you're saying about him when you say that.
No, because
you pictured it when it crashes your brain.
I look good in a scant. I would look good in tutu.
Ooh, are you wearing a scant for us, TLV?
Not this year. I'm too fat.
Oh.
I'm not sure I would fit in it this year.
Starfleet uniforms are very tight.
So you said you look good in a uniform, you look good in a tutu, and I heard the Klingon said you would look good in me. So that's
Is tutu a code for Klingon something or other?
I think so.
No, he wishes I would look good in him.
The Klingon, no, he's definitely, I told you, he keeps sending you love things. For Klingon, it's a love thing. It's quite frightening when you hear it come over the communication if you're not ready for it, because it's a lot of screaming and yelling and guttural noises. But it is directed to you, so there's that. Okay, news articles. So first off, before we even jump into news, you were gone for a whole friggin' week enjoying yourself tiptoeing through Klingon dongs. What corrections do we have?
Well, there's nothing in subspace that I see, but however, from last week's episode, there was a point when Mestral says that he said that I Love Lucy's on tonight, so he wanted to, come back to watch that. Well, that episode takes place between October of 1957 and January of 1958. I Love Lucy ended May 16th, 1957. So, and as far as I can tell, it was not in reruns yet, so Mestral was a liar.
We missed you, Patrick.
But you know what? That correction really wasn't for us. It was based on the show. So technically, we're still flawless, and Enterprise is the one that fucked up.
Yeah, we're good.
Exactly.
So we're still good. Okay,
but
cool.
Just wanted to put that out there. But as far as I can tell, they were not in reruns at that point. So
that whole episode, the time is a little, what do they call it? Wimply wobbly? Wonky?
Yeah, wimply wobbly. Yeah.
Because Sputnik hadn't come out at a certain time, and they were talking about other things that happened before Sputnik or after Sputnik. Yeah. So yeah, it's all a little timey wimey over there on that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever was supposed to double check the facts must have been off or called in sick that day or something.
They're just like, it's a science fiction show. Bend the time a little. It's okay.
It's like Wikipedia wasn't around then.
Speaking of wibbly wobbly timey wimey, after this season 13, Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chinball are leaving Doctor Who.
Oh,
I heard that.
Yeah,
I was pretty surprised. She did the least episodes of any of the Doctors. She did like 31 episodes where the normal was like 44 or 40 or something.
Well, COVID.
I wonder if it's anything to do. I don't think it's her dude. The backlash she got for being Doctor, I thought was unfair.
True.
I thought she did a really good job.
She's a good Doctor.
I liked her, and she brought in a new dimension to it. And I mean, Missy did the female master, and she knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah, she was the best.
Michelle Gomez is a goddess.
Gomez,
yes,
she's worth her weight in gold. I really, if you ever see her in Luther.
Or the chilling adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah, she's really good in that one too. She is an amazing actress.
Also, in his Dark Material on HBO.
Yeah.
She's just an amazing actress. She's somebody who I would love to be with, but would be scared at the same time. So,
that's always good to have a little bit of fear involved.
She is really, she's such a phenomenal actress. Since you brought in that bit of news, we might as well jump into the news segment today. Heather, what do you got for us?
Aye, Captain. So this week, Star Trek Funko Pop Vinyls released the original series Star Trek, well, based off of that. And you can find it now. So it's out. You can get it.
How cool. I know people that's got like a whole wall of them things. So that's amazing. If they're going to do original series, I might have to toss some money their way as well.
Pop figures.
Maybe I can sell Velcro.
I think you missed the time a little. I think Sputnik happened first, and then well, no, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
Didn't Velcro happen like a few years after?
Time doesn't work.
Well, it took a while to figure out how to do it and then market it. So I imagine.
That was so funny.
Either that, I got to go to a facility and go, computer.
Hello, computer.
Hello, computer.
Transparent aluminum exists now.
Yes, it does.
Velcro came out in 1958.
Yeah, came out before.
It was first patented.
Yeah, came out before Sputnik, right? Anyway, that was last week. Don't worry about that.
So we're moving on to the next section here, which is Patrick. What do you got for us news-wise?
Okay, well, I got two things. Star Trek.
Yeah, you did.
You've been waiting for that all show, haven't you?
Yeah.
That was set up like a week ago. That's awesome. Good payoff.
And scene. Star Trek Mission Chicago convention tickets and hotel rooms are now on sale, people. So if you want to get tickets for the convention and hotel, one-day general admission tickets are $65, a 3-day pass is $155, and the VIP Priority 1 access package is $750. Now, if you were at Star Trek Las Vegas, for the price of one gold pass, you could get 2 Priority 1 passes at Star Trek Mission Chicago.
That's a real good cost savings.
Slap in the face creation. You need to start pricing things better, man.
They got them a little bit because they came out like a week before, just before this convention happening in Vegas. They come out and go, "Hey, Chicago, next year, get your tickets now." It felt like they were trying to pull a little bit of steam out of creation. And I was like, oh, come on, guys. Don't fight.
And speaking of creation, so if you're going to go to the convention in 2 weeks, you must be fully vaccinated. Bring proof of vaccination if you are fully vaccinated, and you'll get a special colored wristband, which will allow you entry into the con. Or if you have not been fully vaccinated or only partially vaccinated, they require a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of attending the convention. And
while you're attending the convention, if you attended during the first part, the second part, you have to get retested again for the rest of the convention. It was just like, whoa, my mind blown.
Yeah, and you must wear a mask on the floor at all times.
Everyone's wearing masks.
And you're not allowed to touch any of the talent. You can be between plexiglass. You're not allowed to interfere with them when it comes to autographs. So they're going to be in protective bubbles, and you just got to be careful.
Yeah,
so no touching, grabbing.
You may or may not be able to have an actor hold the prop that you brought for the photo. There also may be a plexiglass barrier between you and the photo op and or during an autograph section.
Yeah, a lot of common sense stuff going out there, but people are going to look at it and go, "My freedom!" I was like, just shut the fuck up, okay? Pardon me for being rude.
Yeah, they're going to be able to tap on the plexiglass and go, "Wow, this monitor is really high res."
Yeah, your freedom doesn't exist when it infringes upon my health and my ability to live.
If you're going to come out and put your hand on the plexiglass and go, "Ship out of danger," you've got to take your Windex and clean the glass after you're done, okay?
I wonder how many people will do that.
But you've got to say it a little bit different, Rocky. Ship out of danger.
I'm trying to go quicker for the podcast just to get it out quick, for pacing wise.
Yeah, but you got to have the dramatic effect is what's important about that scene.
Dude, that scene is embedded. Okay. I understand.
The needs.
Embedded like a dildo in the captain.
Like the needs of the many.
Of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Or the one.
So that's what happened with Kirk. Okay.
Live long and prosper.
He's trying to get the dramatic effect.
And long life.
And I'm going to start hearing Amazing Grace any moment. I'm going to get teary-eyed.
Well, I will admit, on Star Trek movies, the only two movies that I ever cried, literally shed tears in the theater, was one, when Spock died, and two, when the Enterprise was destroyed in Search for Spock.
These are very big moments.
Yeah.
Very big moments.
So when the Enterprise is like, "No, not my baby, you can't go." So that was sad. Do you have any more news for us here, Pat? Is that it? That was the two you have?
Those were the two items, yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to say something about the people freaking out over this kind of stuff. I also looking through the Facebook groups. I also saw somebody post up, "Hey, this is my first convention. I'm worried I'm not going to be able to make any friends." And then I looked down at the comic section, and the comments had like 60 some odd comments right away, like just after they posted. It was just like, everybody's like, "No, we're going to be your friend." The Star Trek convention is a place for friends of people who like Star Trek. So don't worry about that.
That is so freaking cool.
Yeah. So, positivity is a good thing here. So I wanted to share a little bit of it there.
Except for COVID positivity.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, sure.
The only thing that I have to sit there and mention for people that are against vaccines, you got to do some research yourself. Just don't look at what the news says. The mRNA vaccine has been in research for over 10 years, going on 20.
30
years.
Actually,
so
30 years.
It's been in research. So it wasn't something that was developed overnight, and it has been tested and everything. So it's not something that's popped. Two, it doesn't change your DNA. All it does is it goes to your blood cells, your white blood cells and your antibodies, and go, "Hey, look out for this evil shit that's coming."
It also really improves your 5G selection right there. I mean, precision, oh my God.
I am picking up WKRP in Cincinnati now, so.
Nice. Oh, wow. You get WKRP. I was getting the old Twilight Zones.
And Bill Gates called me and said, "What are you doing at Walmart?"
Dude, I'm constantly having dots like being magnetized towards me and like smacking me upside the head.
They're
It's
just
not
hugging
fun.
you aggressively.
Well, for me, it's great because I feel like Magneto. I don't have to go across the room for the remote. I just hold my hand out and it gets right to my hand. So I love it. Well, it does change his channels whenever I walk past television. So it is that. Rocky, what do you got for us news?
Oh my God. I was going to make okay, here it is. This is going to be bad. I got a boner and the microwave turned on. That's how crazy the magnetic works.
Wait, boner?
What?
Never mind. It was horrible. Might edit that out. Okay.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
That's like one of those Facebook posts. Feeling cute, might delete later.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
That's it. That's my version of a bad joke. Might delete later.
Like, why is there a gap in our broadcast? What had happened was...
What happened was Rocky got a boner and it fucked up the whole broadcast.
Made a bad joke. Okay, so my favorite little bit of news here, of course, we're all super excited for Lower Decks. Star Trek Lower Decks is coming to us
Lower dicks?
on August, excuse me?
Lower dicks?
Lower Decks.
So excited. So excited. So grateful.
And we're going to get it out on Paramount Plus on August 12th, I believe. However, the rest of the planet is like, what about us, motherfucker? And I mean, politely, of course. And August 13th, it's going to be on Amazon Prime for the people that get that there. So the UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, India,
Woohoo.
all of them are going to get it on the day after. So all those people bitching and moaning about not being able to sing on a line, hopefully we'll see a little bit less of that on Twitter because people do bitch about that.
Hopefully they give him season 1 too. That would suck if they just gave him season 2 and they didn't give him season 1.
Oh, I think everyone's gotten season 1 by now.
Oh, hopefully.
I hope.
Okay.
Well, heaven forbid I'm wrong on that one. I will eat my words.
Corrections next week.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's cool. They're making an effort to get it out sooner for the rest of the planet because that's kind of a pet peeve of mine is they let it out for the region 1 of US and all the other regions could go, bug off. I like that they're trying to, one world as it is.
That's pretty cool.
Whoop, whoop.
That is definitely cool.
As they should. They should have it for everybody at the same time.
For my bit of news is that who out there are Robert Ricardo, the Doctor, Voyager's Doctor's fans? I'm sure there's a lot of people who are his fans.
Raising
Robert
my hand.
Ricardo.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Exactly.
I love that guy.
Now, unfortunately, he can't be everywhere at once because it's just not color emitters everywhere. And 2, his mobile emitter.
And that would be a little bit frightening.
Yeah. So, however, if you ever wanted an autograph from him and never had a chance to do it, now is your chance. He tweeted out, I will gladly offer a free, which makes the Ferengis upset. I will gladly offer a free autograph photo to any unvaccinated Star Trek fan who gets the vaccination within the next 7 days.
Wow.
Will require a proof of the vaccination, a self-addressed, self-stamped envelope, and an answer to the following questions. Why did you wait until you were offered a free Star Trek photo to get vaccinated? Now, this offer started on July 26th, so you get 7 days from that time frame in order to be able to get yourself a free autograph picture. And his autograph pictures are really cool. I actually have one of him with Dr. McCoy, which is amazing. There was only like one shot of him before he took over. That Leonard McCoy was played by
DeForest Kelly.
Thank you, DeForest Kelly. It was a picture of him and DeForest Kelly when they switched over. So I thought that was really cool.
And he puts like really cool stuff on his photographs. Like it's never the same. It's always like, very personal and everything. And I got one from him like several years ago. And I told him that I had like the biggest crush on him and everything when I was watching the show. So when he signed the photograph, he said, tell no one of our love. And I was just like, oh my freaking God, that is the coolest thing you could have put on there.
You just told everyone of your love.
Dude, like that just rocked. That just like fucking rocked.
But you just told everybody about it.
No, she did it right because you got to look at the way it's worded. He says, tell no one. So she didn't tell
she just
one.
Told
she told everybody.
Okay.
So loopholes in that case, it's good.
Oh man, but he is the best. He is really awesome.
He's very fun to talk to. He's very energetic. And he's really cool. Okay, so my news. Wait, that was my news. So we're all done.
All right.
So we're all complete.
What?
And hold on, just for a second. This is the most important part. Coffee. Okay, now Heather, your turn.
There's coffee in that nebula.
Yes.
And
Okay,
it's
well,
black coffee.
Would it be any other color? Hello?
okay, so this week's episode is Star Trek Enterprise Season 2, Episode 3, Minefield. It first aired October 2nd, 2002. Teaser, IED. Archer tries to get buddy-buddy with Reed over breakfast, but Reed's what the fuck reaction ruffles Archer's feathers. Luckily, Reed is saved by the bell when Hoshi notifies the captain that they just found an M-class planet. Woohoo! Let's go explore. And as Enterprise gleefully parks their ship, they sideswipe a car bomb, blowing out a chunk of their ship. There goes the lower decks Delta Shift.
I think it was T'Pol who notified him of Minshara class planet.
Was it T'Pol, not Hoshi?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it was T'Pol.
Yeah.
Okay. Correction. Corrections.
Yeah, so she was like, yeah, Captain, we got a Minshara class planet. It's not a planet that was on the map previously, so this is an undetected planet.
And Archer immediately gets a boner. Oh, goody, 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 goody. We're going to see it.
We're going to go check it out. We're going to have some vacation time and
Oh
get the
my
suntan
God.
lotion out.
We're gonna meet
Find a
new
nice
aliens.
volcano right over there. This is going to be awesome. And kaboom!
But what's really kind of also funny is because this whole beginning, Reed is supposed to be having like breakfast with him.
I have never
So
seen anybody
awkward.
so nervous
He's
about
like-
having food with the captain ever.
He was like, oh my God, are you going to try to fuck me?
He held that pad in a way that was like sort of a shield, a protective
Yeah.
shield.
He was just like, it's like Eggs Benedict. And it's like, I know how difficult it is to get that right. And it's like the chef made his specialty and he just was not feeling it. He was just
No.
nervous.
He's like, what do you want?
Yeah,
it,
he's
was,
like, okay.
it was very awkward, man. It was so. It was.
It
like,
was.
If Archer would have reached out and touched him on the shoulder, just ever
he
so
would've
gently. Oh, God. Yeah, he would have jumped out of
Could have
the...
been raped.
He would have jumped through the deck lid.
He was freaked out. It's like, so you like any sports? Baseball, basketball, soccer. No, I hate all sports.
He
To
doesn't
Paul's
watch
booty.
the sports ball.
He's
There
got
was
sports balls.
nothing.
What?
He doesn't watch the sports ball.
Fortunately for him, it was interrupted. And so he's like, after you, sir, because I don't want you to look at my ass when we leave.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is the one thing that is extremely consistent about Reed's character. He always would go through first, right? And this time he actually let the captain go first because he's like, maybe I'll check out the captain's ass.
Is that what was happening?
So there's no lines.
Well,
Are
you
you
know-
going commando, Captain?
Captain America gave us, America's ass, and Archer's giving us Space's ass.
There we go.
Well, now I know what those sweat stains are for.
Ew.
Well, when you go commando and,
They were just
sweat.
eating eggs. What the hell were they
Well,
doing?
if you then your ass gives the bat signal because the sweat just accumulates.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go commando in space because then you're
Free flowing.
wee wee and
Right.
your balls are just flowing everywhere, and
Exactly.
But no, women likes it because it makes their boobs bouncier.
Oh, yeah. I could see how that would be good.
Well, that was sexist.
I'm not
but
making
I
any
mean-
comment
No,
there.
it's true. It
it's
makes
sort
them
of kind of
bouncier.
true. Yeah.
So, but the next thing we're going to do, since we've kind of milked this,
Did
all the
you
way through.
see the shot of the ship? The effects work is just phenomenal.
Kablooey, man.
That was good.
Oh my God. That was amazing. And Hoshi took a hell of a dive.
Yeah, that was actually that. You're right. That effects scene. I was like, they really pumped up their animation from the first season. It looked really good. It did.
Yeah, it was like pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, bam.
Damn, kaboom.
And it knocked the hell out of Hoshi.
Yep.
Yeah, it was some vicious exploding right there.
It's like, I got a communication for you, bitch. Boom.
Oh,
Yes, she was
dang.
out. They even knocked her hair loose and everything. So,
But you could see inside the quarters and everything. It's like I just imagined so many people and so many things just like going,
They got apparently so lucky, but we only find that out after the next section.
So all of those bedrooms were completely empty.
Yep.
Well,
Wow.
everyone was at work.
Nobody mentioned anything about the Tribbles that were lost.
and of course, the people who take the night shift, they were on lower decks. So they weren't up near the top there. So they were fine.
Okay.
They got lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, no
Okay,
deaths.
I guess. And that's how rude I mean,
It'll buff
we'll
out.
talk about that next section.
It'll buff out.
Seriously. Get some Bondo.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be some Bondo on the ship, but it'll buff. Yeah.
Okay, next, Heather.
Hi, Captain. Act 1. Stealth bomber. Status report. A couple decks have been wiped out of existence, and 17 crew members, including Hoshi, were injured and are now in sickbay. Travis reports something attached itself to the ship, but he can't see what it is. T'Pol adjusts the frequencies until Reed is able to identify it as a space mine. Since it's sitting directly over the warp core, Reed suits up and goes out to defuse it. As Reed is working on that, T'Pol locates all of the hidden mines, and they are completely surrounded by them. Archer comes up with a plan B and orders Trip to start working on it, just in case. Then an alien vessel decloaks, and it is inching forward towards them.
That is really kind of freaky. That's one of the things that you don't ever want to see is like you think everything is clear and then all of a sudden you're ambushed and it's like, what the hell? And then you have another ship to come up and it's like, we didn't kill you yet. So
all hell broke loose. I mean, that was some exciting but scary stuff. I was really feeling the stress. Maybe it was the theme music or something, but I was feeling the stress.
It's been a long road.
No, not that part.
And it was the Romulans.
My thought.
Oh, the shot where they decloaked. Oh my God!
Isn't that the first time we've seen the Romulans in this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen the Romulans, but we've
still
seen
haven't
their
seen
ship.
them.
Right.
But when that sucker
them.
decloaked, I got chills that right back to the original series when you saw the Romulan Warbird for the first time.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So that was a balance of terror when the Romulans were seen visually for the first time by humans. So they only heard them, they never saw them.
And that's when they thought Spock was one of them. Yeah, that was back in the day. The one thing that occurred to me is when everybody was hurt is like, why do you have just one sick bay?
Yeah.
And it's a small room.
I wonder if they have more, like another room on the side and they got a lot more going on. 17 casualties at once. I mean, we saw maybe a handful of people in there, but Phlox was, running triage like he should.
And that poor Osmotic Eel, man, he was getting a workout.
Osmotic Eel was getting its groove on.
Seriously.
Just sucking left and right.
Did we see Phlox's nurse? What was her name? Did we see her anywhere?
No, she's gone now, remember?
Oh, yeah, she's completely gone. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, the actress playing her.
Yeah, she never came back.
Right. But, he's out there and poor Phlox, I'll give him credit. He's in his element. He's going through and trying to triage everybody. They brought Hoshi in. It's like, I didn't know she had such long hair. She had long hair and it was all done up kind of like.
That one picture we put on Instagram, we shared of her.
That was cool.
Her
the
like 80s style hair. If you guys remember the 80s when the women would get their hair all hair sprayed up and these crazy ass. More than Farrah. I mean, we're talking. It was cool. I mean, we tweeted it out too. But yeah, she's got hair.
Yeah, and it was all over her head and face, and they trying to get.
Well, that's usually where it is.
Sometimes it's elsewhere. You can find hair somewhere else sometimes, but usually hair and some face. Yeah,
this is true. It can be found elsewhere.
If you were looking for,
it's one of those glamour shots that she's got.
Yes,
just make sure you're not wearing a scant if that's the area that your hair is growing.
Oh goodness,
no. Patrick usually does braids and he puts beads through them.
Don't cut your scant too short.
So.
And Hoshi, she wanted to help, like she wanted to do something, but she was just out of it. She was so out of it.
Well, she hit that deck real hard.
This episode has like the best demonstrations of how eager to serve and fulfill the duty that you feel the need to serve. I mean, I've got a job to do. Let me do it. And of course, when you're thrown in sick bay, it's like, you ain't going anywhere.
You said duty.
I did. And you've got to fill it.
Duty.
Well, that shows a difference when you get somebody who's professional and they've been trained.
Which is obviously none of us.
They want to do the job. And it's funny because Trip went out there because he's like, anything to get away from Archer because I'm nervous as fuck. And so no, not Trip. What you call?
Oh, you're talking about Reed?
Reed. Yeah, Reed.
I was going to say, because Trip was working hard. You can see how he'd been through the ship. He's seen all the well, he couldn't get into the sections.
He had smuts on his face.
Yeah, he was all over the place. Engineer hadn't had a chance to wipe his face.
I have one bone to pick with this section, though, because
you had two last week.
Sorry. That's so funny.
It is.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I just see a picture of like Patrick's face, like smiling and so happy.
Yeah, he was glowing.
Anyway, so no, the issue I had was that when Reed was putting on his EV suit, he put on the suit first, and then he put on the shoulder attachment, and then the helmet.
Oh, was it out of order?
Well, what the fuck is securing that shoulder piece to the actual suit?
Magnetics.
You know,
It could be.
The COVID vaccine.
There has to be some kind of seal to keep the
It's self-sealing.
Magnetics.
It bothered me.
Interesting.
Really did. I was like, that doesn't work because,
That's interesting. I saw that scene and I thought, oh, this is really cool. We got a little action sequence of the actual suit being put together. This is really technical fanboy kind of stuff. It's like, I want to put on my spacesuit. There it is, happening right before your eyes. And if you needed a reference to figure out how to build your own spacesuit, this is a great sequence to study because they're all nice close-ups of the hardware.
Just don't actually wear it in space because you'll die.
Well, I mean, come on.
Because there's no seal on it.
How many spacesuits can actually seal in space for TV?
Well,
got to think about that.
The Discovery astronauts, they were on TV and their suits sealed.
That's CG. It's all CG.
Duct tape. You use
Duct tape fixes everything.
Yes, it's the Force. You have a light side and a dark side.
Or Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, just
don't do that.
your hair.
No, don't do that.
The suit had goop in it, so it could self-seal if there was a hole. So, why couldn't it just kind of self-seal as he puts it on? The thing that bothered me about it was he was the only person doing it. He didn't have somebody helping him. Every time I've seen an astronaut put on a spacesuit, they've got to have a couple people involved because those things are big and clunky.
But Archer had to helping him remove his when he got him back on the ship.
Yeah, of course,
because it's removing.
Yeah, that's totally yeah, but I mean, that's how fast this was happening. I mean, kaboom, half the ship's blown off. Oh my God, there's a mine. We've got to go up. Boom, Reed's outside. He's got the thing on, ready to go. He's quick. He's reacting fast.
But then you also get the thing of a ship coming out of nowhere, an alien ship that you haven't seen before, and your translator's got a concussion.
Yeah, that was kind of like, our pants are down. Hello.
What we're going to do? You don't know what they're telling you.
That's when you get a blowjob from a Klingon, from a Romulan mind.
Your pants are down. Are you speaking from experience, sir?
Now that where the alien ship is calling him and they don't know like what they're saying, that's in the next section. Do you want to move on to the next section? I guess we can go.
I just one thing I wanted to pick up, which is a good thing. In Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers, they never showed this in the TV, in the movie, but whenever seal was broken on a spacesuit. No, I didn't say a seal blows like you're on you, but I'm saying when a seal is broken on a spacesuit in Robert Heinlein's book, it had irises at the joints. And so, like, for instance, if the suit was compromised at your calf, it would automatically seal and cut off your leg from the knee down.
It had a backup section. So you mean cut off the air leak?
It would cut the limb.
Or
it would just iris
the
and close and cut the limb off.
Would it cauterize?
That does sound like Starship Troopers style.
Yeah, that was Starship Troopers.
That's pretty vicious.
If you got hurt in the arm, guess what? The arm is going.
Your arm said goodbye.
Yeah,
wow.
So they didn't have a soft seal per se, but that's how it was. But they didn't have that in the movie, but it was
vicious.
In the book.
That's vicious. I don't think I've read the book. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was pretty wild.
The alternatives I was looking at, they did mention right off the bat, we can just, detach the whole plating. It's 300 bolt couplings, and it might take 3 or 4 hours, but we get a wrench going. We can start taking that sucker off right now. Just detach the whole sucker. Even though, Reed is still attached to it. That was an option.
My thing is, like, if you have 300 people, you have enough people down there to detach 300 bolt couplings. Why the fuck aren't they out there helping Reed disable this mine?
Yes, exactly.
And when it actually finally was decoupled, did you see how small that portion was? How the hell did it have 300 bolts?
Well, I don't know, because we haven't got to that part yet.
They're really tiny bolts. The size of the bolt doesn't necessarily mean how big the bolt is.
That's like 2-3 sections.
Anybody taken apart a laptop before? You take that sucker apart, and how many screws are in that little thing, and how many tiny screws there are, blows me away. How small those little things that hold the whole laptop together.
And how many times do you lose those screws?
There's always leftover parts. There's always a leftover part. That's
Everyone
always
on
something.
the ship has lost their screws a couple of times.
Yeah.
Well, before we lose any more screws, Heather, next section.
Aye, Captain. Act 2, the bomb. The alien ship calls Enterprise, and boy, do they sound pissed. Unfortunately, nobody knows what they're saying since Hoshi is stuck in sickbay. But the message is loud and clear when they start firing warning shots at the ship. Travis makes a U-turn and drives out at a snail's pace, pissing off the security guards even more. To make matters worse, Mayweather is forced to play a life or death version of Atari's Space Invaders. Meanwhile, Reed is doing his best to defuse the bomb, but then they hit a bump in the road which triggers a spike through the leg. Reed's leg to be exact, and boy does it look painful. Reed calls down to the bridge for help, and Archer, who secretly has a death wish, excitedly exclaims that he'll rescue Reed by detonating the bomb himself. He's a quick study. In sickbay, Hoshi is translating the voicemail for T'Pol, and besides the normal leave now or we'll destroy you message, they also mention Romulans. Nobody knows what that is, but T'Pol sighs, rolls her eyes, and prepares for a long conversation.
But did you notice that T'Pol didn't say anything about the Romulans being the other half of Vulcans?
No, they didn't know.
Shh, don't tell anybody about that.
Well, yeah, they
Nobody
did.
knows it. That's a secret. Don't tell no one.
Yeah, she didn't say a word about that.
Keep that on the down low.
Yeah, I don't even think Spock fully knew until he saw the picture, and he says, if they truly are an offshoot of our race, then yeah, we need to get the fuck out.
I mean, it's like, I heard they look like us, but,
I wasn't
it's been a
sure.
long time.
Getting from there to here.
Yeah.
But all them aliens look alike.
They say we're cousins, but I don't know.
They might have grown a third eye by now. How do I know?
But the thing is that I thought it was kind of cool, like Heather said, when it came time to go. And it's like, I get a joystick to come out crotch high and I'm going to fly the ship. You know, and
where else are you going to put a joystick?
Yeah, I felt bad for him.
Slow. And it shows that they had really good target because that thing came within inches of hitting in the cells.
I was blown away at that. I'm like, I have no reference of where the ship. I mean, we've all played video games like this. I mean, you said Space Invaders. I was thinking more like asteroids, but I mean, and of course, the old school Atari asteroids is 2-dimensional.
You would not believe how much time I spent last night looking up different Atari space games, and I finally got frustrated and said, screw it. Just Space Invaders. I'm just going with Space Invaders. I'm not doing this.
There is secret information.
It could have been asteroids or Centipede.
I mean, there are some games that were out. I remember playing back in the day. I think the coolest one was called Descent, and it was you piloted a ship into a cavey minefield kind of thing. I mean, it was really cool sequence visually. They got a lot of bang for the buck, but I didn't have any reference of where the ship's outline was. Usually, you kind of have a reference of how big the ship is. So Travis was doing it by feel. So I got to give the guy massive props. I think he could have gone a little bit slower, but he was doing it.
Yeah. Now, if you guys are listening, if you guys know what Atari game he was playing, put it in the comments because we want to hear.
The thing I thought that the Romulans were doing is like, first off, they know they're in the middle of a cloaked minefield because that's the whole job of the cloak. I think they were taking bets. Can you make them rush and blow themselves up? Let's see.
I'm going to take a pot shot. Watch this. See how close I can get. How close can you get without hitting him? Dude got a fucking laser light show when he fired that.
Good. We get a bet. Oh my God, he's going to totally back up into one.
So cool.
Were those birds of prey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they looked a little sleeker than what I recall.
It's the old school. Well, I mean,
yeah.
When you redo the effects for the 2000s, that's kind of what they look like now. Yeah. They were CG, but they were still pretty. I mean, I still got chills when they decloaked. So
what I liked about this is Archer gets Malcolm to open up, like slowly but surely. He gets him to open up and reveal more about himself.
Well, like I think it's because he got the anesthesia. I think that helped a little.
Well, when you're high, that helps a lot.
I bet that had a lot to do with it because he's like, "Can I have another, sir?"
Yeah, that was funny. He did the thing from Oliver Twist. Right. Please, sir, may I have some more? But
it was funny because it was the story of his great uncle being, afraid of drowning and him being afraid of drowning, and that his great uncle went down with the ship and now he's going down on the ship.
Is that next section?
Yeah.
That was this section.
That is the next section.
I mean, they started. I'll give you they started, so we can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, but that's all the next section.
That was some cool stuff. The writer was really. This is the first time Star Trek writer, by the way, for this show. They studied every single episode to write this episode, and they're like really wanted to get into exploring the relationship between the captain and Reed because we still don't know very much about Reed.
No, we don't.
And I wrote down the name. John Shiban was the name of the scriptwriter. So I thought that was kind of cool. They're getting into exploring the intricacies of this armory officer. I mean, what guy's going to go out and say, "Oh, there's a mine. I'll get rid of it."
Yeah.
I mean, even me, I'm like, there's a mine out there. I'll go over on the other side of the ship. Thank you.
Especially considering that his uncle died because their submarine hit a mine.
But like he said, he was trained in this. This is like his job. Mm-hmm. This is what he's there for, It's his jam.
And again, he's like, and an archer comes here. It's like, I would have been like, what the fuck you're doing? You're captain of this ship. Get out. Go away. Like, I didn't want to talk to you anyway, and you can't feel me up through my spacesuit. So.
and now he comes in, the one person you don't want to be annoying you in this situation.
And I swear to God, Archer had a death wish. He was just like, "Oh, I'll go. I'll totally do it. I'll bomb it. I'll do everything."
He's first to lend a hand, that's for sure.
The bomb.
But let's also touch a little bit on Hoshi, because at first, if you remember in the first season, she was scared shitless to be on the ship. Everything frightened her. She wanted to leave. But now she banged an alien. She banged into the floor, and she still is professional enough to say, to translate it. I mean, her head is all mushed from hitting the deck,
Yeah.
She's used to having to perform while being banged.
And then she's...
Wait, what?
Did that come out right?
And then she's able to translate the language and right off the bat. And it shows you that even though T'Pol might have heard of them, she didn't really hear them because she didn't recognize the language either.
Well, it's one of those things where the translator isn't working. So, I mean, it's literally not working. It's coming out gibberish. Can you reboot it, turn it on and off again? I mean, come on. It's not working. Get Hoshi.
And then she does the pronunciation, and then T'Pol still has to kind of dig at Hoshi a little bit. She says, it's the Roman Empire. No, it's Romulan.
And speaking of the writer, he was also a co-executive producer on Enterprise for 26 episodes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's funny that I looked this up because I just started rewatching Legend of the Seeker, if any of you know what that is.
Yep, I remember that.
Wizard's First Rule. It's based on that book, Terry Goodkind.
Yep.
He also was a part of Legend of the Seeker.
That was a short-lived show that used to come on.
A lot of
seasons
as well. A lot of good talent involved in Star Trek.
Yeah. He also did X-Files. He got his start on X-Files.
There you go.
And speaking of great talent, Heather, next section.
Aye, Captain.
Well, we don't want to talk about her great talent on the air. I mean, come on.
I thought you guys weren't going to say anything on the air.
She.
Well, that's what I was saying. He's talking. The captain's asking about your great talent. I'm like, no.
I mean,
someone put a Tribble in his mouth.
She also has awesome talent of burning food. Nobody can burn food better than her.
She's not just here for her good looks and her bad food. She's also the science officer.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the next section. Act 3, Suicide Bomber. T'Pol gives the Cliff Notes version of the Romulans while Hoshi translates a response. Archer has a therapy session with Reed while he deactivates the bomb, and we learn that Reed is scared of drowning. That's why he didn't join the Navy. That and the PTSD of his uncle drowning on a submarine. At this point, the Romulans are sick of waiting and start yelling at them to, hurry the fuck up. Archer tries, but instead he rearms the bomb. Reed shits himself and is so embarrassed that he is ready to sacrifice himself at a moment's notice.
It smelled really bad. He just wanted to get the air out of the suit.
Yeah, he's like, kill me now. I shit myself, just fucking kill me now.
I shouldn't have had those beans and sauerkraut. Oh my God.
It was Taco Tuesday, man.
Okay, you had your thing, Pat, that kind of ticked you off a little bit about the spacesuit with the arm connection. The one thing that kind of annoyed me a little more than Archer being out there as the captain was the fact that when T'Pol says that it's the Romulan Star Empire, and then Archer goes, oh, I read about them. He goes, oh, what did you read? Oh, just the title of the book. Then you didn't fucking read about them.
Thanks for the contribution.
The title.
Yeah, that's reading to him.
Oh, that's who they are. I mean,
it's like I saw the title. It's like, do you know how to fix a foreign transmission? I saw a guy fix a Japanese one once. It's yours.
Oh my God! The whole operation of de-arming this mine is freaking scary as hell to me, because not only it's like playing Operation and cracking a Rubik's Cube and opening a safe, and changing a car tire, and I mean it might as well have a password.
Changing space diapers.
It might as well have a password with a CAPTCHA on it. I mean, this thing is really complex. This is really scary. And the guy who's just like, oh, now it's the captain. He wants to go and eagerly, poke around on that sucker and fix it.
Yeah.
And it's also damaged.
He's taking his time. He wants to have a conversation. He's like, oh, those ships can wait. I want to talk about you and me.
Yeah. How about that sports stuff? You like that soccer? Is that what you were talking about? I was like, dude, you're working around inside of a really sensitive explosive device right in front of you.
Yes.
Don't talk about sports.
If he had focused, he would have finished that job sooner. Just saying.
Yeah. And Reed's got the right thing in his mind, because fraternization with a superior officer is usually always frowned upon. You're not supposed to do that, because you may be called upon to send someone to their death, and the most distance you have is good. I don't know if I told you.
Getting to know each other, I wouldn't call fraternization. Now, if Reed had been like, if Archer had been like, let me put my hand in your pants, that'd be fraternization.
He was headed that way.
No.
In space? I mean, that's pretty kinky.
In space, no one can hear you scream, so.
Well, I mean, people
but they
are
can't
always...
see you come.
People are always curious about doing it like in something like a pool, and that's similar to space. So why wouldn't they, feel that way about space? Like if you're living up in space, you might be
all
like...
this excitement and adrenaline going, it kind of gets you a little horny.
Well, the whales do, because, when the whales mate, not all of it gets into the female whale, and a lot of it gets into the ocean water, which explains why the ocean is salty.
Spaceships have a glory hole. It just goes out into outer space.
I don't think Heather got that one.
No, I didn't get that one.
I think something happened at the same time.
I think that when she listens to the premiere later on, she'll get it.
Probably.
And he's like, oh.
Yeah, watch the chat. It's normal when I don't get shit. Like, stuff goes over my head often. I admit it.
Okay.
Anyway, the captain thing, they're your crew, not your friends. That attitude it fascinates me a little bit, because when you're working with your boss, you want to be friendly with your boss, but you don't want to be like too friendly with your boss sometimes.
Exactly.
It's a kind of the similar thing when you're serving.
Exactly. It is. I don't know if I've told you guys this one time. I might have, so correct me if I did. We were out on Liberty, and I was with all my troops, and I just wanted to relax. So they kept calling me Sergeant Adams, Sergeant Adams. I says, look, we're on Liberty. Just fucking call me Nathan. Okay, just leave it at that. So we come back, and we're in the barracks, and I'm giving orders that are not particularly good orders. And one of the guys that was hanging out with me said, oh, come on, Nathan, do we have to do this? And so I looked at him and go, excuse me, my first name is Sergeant. My last name is Adams. If you're going to call me by my first name, you will call me Sergeant. You need to come outside with me. And we went outside, and I says, look, what you did in front of the troops like that is disrespectful. You never call somebody above you by their first name in a group setting. You lost all privileges of ever hanging out with me again. If we're on Liberty and you see me, you walk the other way.
Oh, wow.
Because you don't do that. And Reed is right. There's certain things it's like Rocky said, you can be friendly with your superior, but
that had more to do with you being a cunt than
no, you're not supposed to do that. No, you're not supposed to do that.
I know.
But, and I can understand what
funny.
But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, because you want to be kind of casual and work with your friends and have a good time and work as a team. That's awesome and great. But, Reed's coming from the military side. You want to have a military respect to it. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And it fits in his character.
Well, that's like I was telling Nathan when I first started this new job, my boss was like, texting me, and I was on a group text with other people that I was working with who I didn't know. And I was like, this is fucking weird. Okay. I'm like, I've never, ever been, texting back and forth with my boss before. It's like, it just was a little odd.
You have to be very aware of autocorrect.
Yeah.
Right.
And you never can forget the fact fact that they're your boss. And a lot of people don't know how to separate business and friendship. And sometimes they'll overstep that bound. Like if somebody's your boss and you play around and the boss says something and you're in a group meeting, you tell them, why don't you just shut the fuck up? You know, that's not right. Yeah, you don't do that. You just don't do that. And Reed, being a military person, like Rocky was saying, I could see they did a good job because that's really ingrained in the military. You just don't sit and hobnob with the officers. There's a reason why the officers' mess is separate from the enlisted men. There's a reason why
you can slob on his knob later, but that's in private.
Yeah. No, there's a reason why the officers' living quarters is separate from the enlisted living quarters. It's just don't happen. They can go into your world, but you can't go into theirs.
Fascinating. This was the scene where we're really getting into the story about his uncle and how they joined the Navy and had a similar fate that happened to him in a submarine. And I mean, it kind of gave me reminiscent feels of that scene in Jaws where they're talking about the ship going down and
who got eaten by sharks. Yeah.
And sometimes the shark didn't, you know. But so yeah, I was feeling kind of like that. I was like, oh wow, it was like a cool moment, and it really blows the mind. I mean, so you're afraid of drowning in the water, and you go into space where you can technically also drown, but it's not water. I mean, how is this that much different? I guess it's just enough different that it makes it okay for him, but that would still freak me out. I'd want to be going into work and like, you know, on some land somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that's nothing to argue about that.
No,
we
but
agree.
then you have them on the thing, and Archer is going through. He's obeying instructions, and he's doing it really well. And despite what Reed tells him, he's like, "I'm gonna save you, and we're not gonna go down with the ship." And here's the last thing. And now the mime is disarmed. Fooled you.
It's rearming again. Oh no!
What the hell? Quick, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
Stick it back in, stick it back in.
That's an engineer's joke. If you're building a mine, it's like, oh, wait. Hold on. I'm going to put this one little thing at the end. They're not going to see it coming. It's going to be so fucking funny when it blows.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's got to be some fucked up designing right there, right? I mean,
an engineer with a sense of humor.
Yeah, it's got, I mean, how many backups and bypasses you have to go through to this thing to get it to de-arm? And then there's another one at the end that just fucking returns the whole thing to zero. I mean, just come on. That's fucked up.
You can do that to their noobs in the military. You have plastic explosives if you ever get signed out for them. Plastic explosives are extremely stable. The only thing that sets it off is electric charge. But however, if you get a new person who doesn't know it, what you do is you take out your lighter and light it and watch them freak out.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's going to go off.
Oh, that's so messed up.
Pretty much, but it's really funny. But if you have plastic explosives and you on carpet and you get static electricity,
that would be Christmas. Bad. That would be really bad.
Yeah, cancel Christmas. Your time is done. But yeah, he's trying to do it, and the Romulans are like, "Get out of here! We can scan you and tell. Just leave the shell, leave the people behind you, and just back into a mine. Damn it, we got bets."
Yeah,
that's right. We want to see you go kaboom.
My question is why didn't Paul recognize the Romulan language? Like, isn't that similar
totally
to
different.
Vulcan?
No, it's got to be completely different.
Well, she said that they've never had face-to-face contact with them either. They just know that they're territorial. They know that they're a pissed off people.
Imagine you met there's a Neanderthal in another ship nearby that evolved the way the Neanderthals do, but they're just separate from the way we did. So we don't know what they look like. We don't know what they sound like.
Perfect example.
And so, yeah, it's kind of like you just don't know. I mean,
no, there's perfect example playing a multiplayer online game and you have a headset on and you have a troll that you're playing against. You don't see them. You don't know what they look like. You just hear their annoying fucking voice.
You mean like right now?
No,
exactly.
Stop it.
Just like it was on the ship.
I understand. Griefers. Got it. I got griefers.
There you go. The other thing about this is the sense of heroism that Reed has embedded in him because of the story about his uncle who sealed himself in the engine room, went down with the ship just so everyone else can get back out. Yeah. That's an amazing story of bravery and just doing what you have to do, and even if it's the last thing you do.
And Reed's willing to go down on the ship. I mean, with the ship.
I mean, it's a beautiful story, kind of. I mean, I wouldn't be the one most excited to be locked into a place by myself, but if I got to save everybody, I mean, the literal needs of the many versus the few applies here. I mean, it really comes to that chord, touches a nerve. But the other side of things is giving up too soon, and there's a certain point point where either, I mean, Archer's not at that point yet, but Reed is like, dude, just get out. I mean, it's time to go. Just blow the ship out and be away. It's okay. I like that this little story comes in and ties into it.
I mean, total negative Nancy.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he's not trying to be, the hero, but he's trying to be the hero,
Well, he was also like that. If you remember in the episode Lifeboat when he was with Tucker.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. We're gonna die. I'm leaving notes to all the women that I screwed in my lifetime. And it's like, why don't you ever just be happy? We're not gonna ever make it. So yeah, that's his personality.
It really goes into the deep of his personality. So there's a sense of duty to fulfill, one for all, and all that. Also, another person in the crew that was Travis. After he got out of the minefield, they said, "Okay, you take a break, man. You deserve it." And he's like, "I'd prefer to be at my post." So even after going through all of that, he's like, "No, I'll stay. I got control. It's all good. I'll still drive."
Well, I think part of Malcolm's problem is that he probably just hasn't been laden forever. I mean, total sourpuss.
I thought Reed was just depressed.
Maybe.
Like, that's why it's just like, okay, I'm ready to die. Let's go.
Once you got stabbed through the leg like that, and you've seen what you're working with, the exploding Simon Says machine sitting right in front of you. If you hit the wrong button, it'll go kablooey. I mean, at this point, it's like, shit, there's nothing else we can do. Get the fuck out of here. It's okay. I'm good. I had a good life.
Maybe Captain Archer's conversation with him was the reason why he was ready for death.
Yeah, it's possible.
He really didn't want to talk sports with the captain.
But I think it goes from what you said, that if Reed had a girlfriend on the ship, that he probably would have fought longer to live. Because if you remember, even in Serenity, it's like when they're all trapped and the doctor tells Kaylee, it's like, I just disappointed that I never had a chance to be with you. And she goes, be with me? As in sex? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, fuck that. I want to live.
That's called motivation. He didn't have enough motivation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the actor who played the doctor was a homo. So
that's
even more funny.
Yeah. So it was definitely interesting.
And then of course he had the mess in the suit. So at that point, it's like, no, please just blow it up. Blow it up. It's okay.
I don't want Paul to undress me and see this.
You.
He got duty in his pants.
Yeah. Now that would be embarrassing.
It was his duty.
His duty. Oh, God.
You said duty.
All right. I guess we can move on to the next section.
Aye, Captain. Act 4. Mind blown. Reed tries his best to kill himself, but with no luck. Archer won't let him die. Instead, he has a plan. Enterprise detaches the hull plating with Archer and Reed and the bomb on it, and when they're far enough away from the ship, he cuts off the section that is going through Reed's leg, and then they jump far enough away from the bomb while using the shuttle pod doors to shield them from the blast. They're able to make it back to the ship just in time to go to warp and escape from the Romulan security guards.
So did y'all hear when after the bomb blew up, did you hear to Paul, Captain, respond?
No.
Like her voice went up.
I did not hear that.
Did.
Yeah, it was there was emotion in that voice.
So basically there's a love triangle. Reed wants to fuck T'Pol wants to fuck Archer, and that's why Reed doesn't like Archer.
And then you got Trip.
And the duty in the pants. Yeah, but no, her voice changed. Like there was emotion.
Yeah, there was. She was. You can hear that she was excited about it. She didn't want him to go. And
they had that little moment too when she's like, "I can't talk you out of this," and he just doesn't even say shit. She's like, I mean, there's something going on there.
That was so rude, though.
Also, I realized that they have to do it for dramatic purposes, but in space, there's no sound. So when the thing exploded, we should have just had a flash of light and saw the concussion.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a little something for the subs to do. Just to bring up, you've paid all that money for the home theater sound system. Might as well make it rumble a little.
Well, that was the thing with the original series with Star Trek. When they first did the opening theme, there was no sound with the Enterprise going back and forth. And the person said, because in space, there's no sound. Right. And they were insist, well, we got to have something because it's just too dead. So they put that shh. So, yeah.
That was my favorite part of the open, though, in the original. We'd always do a little whoosh. We'd like turn our heads and match the movement with the ship coming across diagonally. It's like whoosh, you follow it around.
Now in Firefly, they did that. They didn't have sound.
Battlestar did that a lot too.
Yeah, Battlestar also. So it made the show feel real.
The new Battlestar, I don't know about the old one.
The new one. That's correct. The new one,
Yeah.
they did that. Now, a little bit of trivia for you. Do you know how the camera angle, and it looks like it's being done by a documentary crew, how it's unsteady and focuses in and out whenever they had the space battles?
Yeah.
I just thought you were holding the camera.
That was actually pioneered from a show called Space Above and Beyond. They did it on that show, and people saw how well it did. It wind up making it on all other sci-fi shows.
Yeah, it's a cool style that a lot of them have adapted. The gun camera style, or the like you're standing, like your troops with the camera right there, and that's like looking at live footage, or that's how footage would actually look like. When you do editing to footage and people see an edited product, you don't see the swishes of the camera and the zoom moves and the focusing. It's already done. But when you see footage like that, that's actually how it is, and it has that live feel to it.
Yeah, and they did a good job of it. It's a shame. That's another show that Fox didn't know what the hell they were doing and canceled before its time.
There's a lot of those.
Oh my God. It was such a good show.
And it was nominated for 2 Emmy Awards and a Saturn Award, but they yanked it off after one freaking season.
And it's because the Fox doing what it's doing. I'm sorry, I'm going to vent a little.
Oh, boy, here we go, guys. Hold on.
Really first off, the military research on that show was flawless. And they had Lee Ermey being the drill instructor in the first episode, which is also amazing. Mm-hmm. But what happened is that they had the show and they goes, well, we're going to move it because we feel like it. Oh, look, the ratings drop. Well, let's move it to Friday night. Oh, look, the ratings drop. Well, let's go ahead and preempt it and put it after football. Oh, look, the ratings. Well, no shit. You kept moving it all over the place and not telling people when you moved it to, what time zone you moved it to. There was no real internet to research that shit. And then they go, well, it's got bad ratings.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Well, and you never want to put in. I mean, Friday nights are never a good place for a show, because that's what everyone goes out on a Friday night. So
no,
unless you're a nerd and you want to watch a TV show.
And it ended on a cliffhanger.
Hey, what are you saying, Rocky?
I'm saying I watched a lot of shows on Friday night.
No. So those of you out there want a good sci-fi show that lasted for about a season, see Space Above and Beyond. It's out there. They have it on Blu-ray now. It does end on a cliffhanger, so I'm going to warn you. But it is a well-crafted show, and it's done by the same people who did The X-Files. So if you like the writing for Glenn Morgan and Wong, I don't remember his first name, they had a lot to do with the show. It was very nice. You have solid actors in there as well. Okay. I guess we can continue with this act here.
Okay, so the wrong thing, the poor design of the spacesuit that you can actually take a hose out on it and refill another one is such a design flaw. How are people supposed to survive? They can't commit suicide because you keep changing their air out. I just I think that's a really cool feature. I wonder if our actual spacesuits are designed to do this, because you just take the hose and pop it in and recompress and the air goes right through. I think it's an awesome feature to have.
It is.
And it really makes it sucks, except when you do a number 2 in your suit and you're trying to get rid of the smell. And you may die from the lack of air, but at least you won't have the smell. And then Archer plugs his in and he's going to get the smell too now.
Yes.
Like we did with the episode where they had the dead bodies in the pods. You always got to have an air freshener in the pod.
Right.
Always.
They don't have air fresheners in these suits.
Now, I'm going to ask you this question because you're an engineer. You have the mine, it explodes. They hold up these shuttle door.
Oh God.
Plates.
Oh God.
They
Okay.
can fly, but yet somehow they're able to scoop them up.
Oh my God. Okay. So there's a lot of things that happened very quickly here. First off, I actually went back and retimed the timings because they're saying, was it 10 seconds? Was it 20 seconds? Mm-hmm. It was actually more like 27 seconds. And the second time it actually really went off, I think it was closer to 33, but it depends on when you started your timer. But it was definitely closer to 20. So the world was moving a little bit quicker for Reed, and he only counted 10.
But the thing is,
aside from that, the hatches, the shuttle pod hatches, we're going to just, hold them up like shields, right? So the two things about that, first off, they jump away from the hull plating as it's flying away. Really cool visual effects, by the way. Those were some cool shots, especially when you look over the edge and like, oh, there's a ship way down there. They're floating away, and now they have nothing to hold onto reference. They're just holding these doors, and they're floating away. They somehow spin around. They don't have propulsion on these suits. They spun around to turn around to twist to face it the other direction so you can block the thing.
That's right.
But how did they spin around? I don't think astronauts can just spin around just like that.
No, you can't.
They have to have something to grab onto, right?
Yeah, you got got to have some sort of a way, like you said, some sort of air jets or something like that.
You could wave the door around and it would still not move you. It would still not turn you. So that was one thing that got me.
No, you can't twerk in space.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you can twerk in space. You can twerk in space. You just can't turn around while you're doing it.
No, you're not going to be able to spin around.
Yeah. So the second thing is the explosion. The force of this explosion blew the side of the ship apart, and they were pretty damn close to it. And I mean, I don't know. There's no atmosphere to be compressed and damage you that way. But, you know, the debris flying off of this mine had to be fatal. The speed it moved at had to be fatal. I mean, if it tore the side of the ship apart, you would think it would do a lot to a shuttlecraft door too. I mean, they thought, well, maybe the door is going to be strong enough. So, okay, what if the door was strong enough? How about your bones, your arms holding the door out, and it comes back and compresses your arms against you as it explodes? How did not shatter every bone in your arm, let alone turn the rest of you to jelly with the force of that impact?
Also, the thing that gets me as well, how was Travis to be able to pick them up in space, traveling at a high velocity because of the explosion? It's just,
because they would have been accelerated by that.
Yeah.
So he'd have to go play catch up.
So how was he able to get them both?
He grappled them
inside the cargo bay.
The joystick. The joystick worked.
But anybody who cooks eggs, Heather, you don't have to answer this. But anybody who cooks eggs and you crack eggs, know that if you get a shell inside the egg thing, the egg yolk, how hard it is to be able to scoop that little bitch out of there.
That's what you're supposed to do?
You know, to scoop it out. Well, no wonder yours is crunchy.
A lot.
That's why her eggs are crunchy.
Seriously. I was wondering why.
I thought they were supposed to be crunchy.
But yet somehow was able to pick up both of them.
I think this was a visual effect they decided not to do to save time, because he had to, first of all, you're right, they were accelerated. So now he had to move the ship to catch up to them. And then he had to angle the cargo bay door. So they had to flip the ship upside down and open the doors and just kind of move the ship maneuver to get them both inside right next to each other, and then shut the door. And then,
mind you, they had to also do it while trying to avoid mines.
And there's a Romulan warbird off, looking at you guys laughing.
I really think that the Romulans really wanted to see them blow up, because they're like, we're going to fire at you now. And then they take their sweet time to fire on them. They already had weapons locked.
And they're like, okay, we're going to blast. Look at this. They're going to, look what they did.
Wait, there's no way they can
survive.
Okay, now this is the other thing that gets me. Okay, all right, all right, here it is. All right, so, all right, you have the beacon that you set off so you can see all the cloaked mines. So you see all the cloaked mines, but why it didn't work against the Romulan ships?
The mining technology, they explained this one. I looked this one up in Memory Alpha. Mm-hmm. The cloaking technology was very infant style, or infant. It's very early version of cloaking. And the mines were pretty good and pretty perfected, but cloaking a ship, whole nother problem, because it requires so much power, and managing that power is dangerous. And in fact, they went and referenced one of the books. They said it was non-canon, but they referenced the book anyway. And the book was called The Good That Men Do. And they talked about Romulan cloaking, how it was experimental at that time. And they had two ships that could do it. And they had those two ships there in the scene. And apparently one of them ended up blowing up. And they decided to not work with cloaking anymore, not experiment with it anymore, because it was too dangerous. So these Romulans were experimenting with their cloaking tech. And the ships were like, just on the edge of ability. I mean, they could cloak better than the mines. They could still see the mines, but they couldn't see the ships. But
we're leading it to our engineer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought what happened was the ships were made out of magnets that repelled. So when they got close to the mine would just repel away from the ship, so it would never touch the Romulan ships.
Oh, interesting.
That was my thought.
Interesting technique. Fascinating.
Thank you.
I don't think it's right, but it's fascinating.
Oh, no. Definitely not right. Definitely.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool that they had this explained in the backstory. They'd have no idea. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, nerdy thing to nerd out about. But yeah, so they do all this fancy maneuvering and scoop up the two with this precision flying that Travis did is fascinating and really, really cool. But yeah, it was a little bit at the end of the episode, like, how can they do this so quickly? It kind of, and how come the captain and Reed, they weren't turned to jelly inside their suits? I mean, there'd be more than some gooey poop in one of the suits, if you know what I mean. They would all be goop.
huge.
Yeah, but if you remember in Star Trek Into Darkness, Kirk and Khan jumped from Enterprise to the big,
the big jump, yeah.
Yeah, into a tiny little hole, comparatively to the, a cargo bay of Enterprise. So it wouldn't have been that big a deal for
Okay, but this is Enterprise, and the spacesuits are only a certain evolution of the spacesuits versus the later years.
Well,
also,
it can be done though.
Yeah, I mean, we're stretching numbers and things, and I mean, I'm happy that they survived, but I mean, realistically, you're like, how did they not get turned to jelly?
Yeah, well, I think Star Trek has a list of like completely impossible things that could never happen that Star Trek totally had.
The other thing that it pointed out in an article that, of course, in our Enterprise, we see the EV suit self-sealing, but on the Enterprise E in First Contact, it did not self-seal. If you guys remember that scene.
Yeah, because Worf had to turn around and tie a thing around
say assimilate this. Yeah. So, yeah, that was kind of, I mean, you could stretch the story. It's science fiction. Give it a little bit of play. Enjoy the fun. Enjoy the action.
I agree. But overall, what would you give this episode there, Heather, on the Heather scale?
Oh, goodness. I'm still waiting for Enterprise to be good. Let's see. I'll give it a 4.
Okay. How about you, Pat?
5. I mean, it wasn't a very Star Trek episode. It was I feel like this was more like a filler episode, just like kind of, hey, look, we're going to have, some character, development, which was really kind of blasé anyway.
Yeah, it didn't flow.
It was okay, but as I was watching it, I'm like thinking, yeah, this is a filler episode.
How about you, Rocky?
I was kind of more into it. I give it an 8. I was into the excitement of the explosion happening, and we've got to solve this technological problem with this mine, and or we could eject the hull plating, but we can't do that because of the drama, and everybody wants to be a hero, and the duty and all that good stuff. I kind of liked it. I mean, this was kind of fun. It was a thriller. Looking at it from a production standpoint, this was like the story's a bottle episode, but there's so much effects work done for this show, this particular episode. That whole exterior of the ship, the set that they're on, they're physically built that sucker, and then they had to get rid of it later because they had no place to put it. It was so big they couldn't store it anywhere, which blows my mind. I'm like, oh wow, that's a lot of set work they had to get rid of. And all these effects work, the effects were just really well done. It was like a bottle episode, but with a budget. I mean, it was cool. I enjoyed it.
I would have to split my voting in pieces here. For effects and everything, I agree with you. The show with the effects that they did, the way it looked, I would give it an 8 based on that. For story, when it came to what went on with Reed and with the Romulans and everything else, I'd have to give it about a 4.5. So average that out.
Somebody's on my level. Yes.
So it was visually, the show was really good. I did like the visual effects. The special effects really went up there. The little things that annoyed me was, like I said earlier in the show, I read about the Romulans. Well, what'd you read? The title.
Yeah, exactly.
So that
I almost read about the Romulans.
So that annoyed me. Also, just to point out, you see, we have different various views on Star Trek, and we also love the show and get along. So those of you out there that talk about, I hate Discovery, all you that like it should die. I really get a life. Really, just let people enjoy what they want.
It's kind of a given thing in life. At one point, you die, so get over it.
I mean, seriously, if I'm
that's
walking,
the great thing about having a group and being friends with like a group of people that have differing opinions. You get, different viewpoints. You get different perspectives. It's not all the same. That's part of the good, interesting thing about it.
Ask yourself this question, okay, before you turn around and shoot down someone's fandom or a show they like. Would you walk through a mall and see someone eating a hot dog, walk over to them, slap it out of their face and go, that's fucking nasty. Why are you eating that?
I'd be like, yourself, that's my lunch. Now I have to punch you in the face for that.
So when you do something like that, it's like, oh, I really like Discovery. You're basically, when you turn around and goes, I fucking hate the show, you just slapped the fucking hot dog out of my face. So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and move on.
No, just say rather that I hate the show. And it says, well, these are the reasons why I don't like it. And just don't turn around and try to rip it apart. I mean, come on.
Right. If you try to actually start a conversation,
that's different. Free form of ideas.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, this is the hill I'm going to die on.
Yep.
Speaking of dying and dead, Patrick, what's the next show about? And you see, I'm not talking about him when he says what the next show is going to be.
I see what you did there, sir. Very wise.
Thank you, Pat.
Your face is what's next. What's
No,
dying and dead.
go ahead.
Here you all get along here.
We swear.
Okay, so next episode is called Dead Stop.
See?
Enterprise seeks repairs from their encounters with the Romulans, where they stop at a desolate but idyllic repair station. But it's not all that it seems to be when Mayweather is suddenly found dead.
Ooh, go show. And wait, you just gave a huge fucking spoiler. Mayweather is dead?
They didn't say that in the Netflix description.
So, yeah, we're going to have to come next week to see this. Also, for those of you who are aware, a good 3/4 of the crew is going to be in Vegas. So if you want to meet us, if you're out there, just write in the comments, let us know. We'll make a place to say hi.
That's 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. And maybe, who knows, even treat you to a libation or whatnot. Heather will not be there because she's got to be able to do a slingshot and come and pick us up once this thing is over. We got to have someone pilot the ship. So she's going to be piloting the ship. She's going to be in command.
Are we sure we want her to pilot the ship? I mean, she can't make eggs.
I'm ready.
Well,
I
she
am
can't
so
cook,
ready.
But she can do that.
The computer does aid the piloting of the ship.
This is a good first chance for me to try out my captain skills. So
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So
Yeah, let's have the Hollow team on
All the teams on standby.
Yes, because it's just because anything like her cooking, we're in trouble.
It's going to be Heather, some holograms, and a bunch of tribbles. Just
as long as she's
watching the
not going to
ship.
be like in Firefly when Malcolm says like, okay, I want you to be able to have command of the ship, and within an hour later, I want you to come back and rescue me. And then Zoe's like, and risk my ship?
it's going to be good. So I know we had that burnt like cheese in the toaster smell in the ship, and I know you guys really didn't like that. So I figured while you're gone, what I'll do is I'll boil some water and some cinnamon, and I'll get this place smelling really good. Nothing can go wrong with that.
You can burn water. Okay, come on.
Nothing can go wrong with that.
Are you going to use the microwave? Don't use the microwave because you're not supposed to put the metal pot in the microwave.
Yeah, and then Dot told me you tried to roast a marshmallow at the warp engine, and you found out that it really doesn't give off the heat.
No, I tried, but it just did not work. It
Is
burned.
that where that marshmallow came from?
Yeah.
I thought somebody was trying to have a campfire. Yeah.
I had the Dot clean it off. Yeah, Patrick thought it was a spooge mark, but it's like, who's spooging on the warp engine? I understand it looks beautiful, but damn.
Somebody needs medical attention if that was the spooge.
Seriously. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for joining for the premiere. It's great seeing you guys on there. So thanking Pimpin' That Dead Ho and also wonderful Dom. You're always there. So when you're not around, we miss you.
Yeah,
so,
thank you, Dom.
And thank you all of our regular listeners for being able to join us. We'll be back again for another review. So remember, if you want to watch the show and hear our opinion on it, it's going to be Dead Stop, which I'm going to do now. So this is going to be a Dead Stop. So you guys remember, just don't have a great week, but make it so.
And if you can, support the show by going to patreon.com/Starfleet Underground. Lots of perks to choose from, and you might even like some of them. Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.